right? These are crazy things that will never happen.
So much of social media operates by AI algorithms. You talked about this a little bit, recommending the content you see. So on this idea of radical thought, how much should AI show you things you disagree with on Twitter and so on, in the Twitterverse, in the broader
I hate
internet?
this question.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because you don't know the answer?
No. Look, they've pushed out this cognitive Lego to us that will just lead to madness. It's good to be challenged with things that you disagree with. The answer is no. It's good to be challenged with interesting things with which you currently disagree, but that might be true. So I don't really care about whether or not I disagree with something or don't disagree. I need to know why that particular disagreeable thing is being pushed out. Is it because it's likely to be true? Is it because, is there some reason? Because I can write a computer generator to come up with an infinite number of disagreeable statements that nobody needs to look at. So please, before you push things at me that are disagreeable, tell me why.
There is an aspect in which that question is quite dumb, especially because it's being used to almost very generically by these different networks to say, well, we're trying to work this out. But, basically, how much do you see the value of seeing things you don't like, not you disagree with? Because it's very difficult to know exactly what you articulated, which is the stuff that's important for you to consider that you disagree with. That's really hard to figure out. The bottom line is the stuff you don't like. If you're a Hillary Clinton supporter, you may not want to. It might not make you feel good to see anything about Donald Trump. That's the only thing algorithms can really optimize for currently. They really can't.
They can do better. This is we're
You think so?
No, we're engaged in some moronic back and forth where I have no idea why people who are capable of building Google, Facebook, Twitter are having us in these incredibly low-level discussions. Do they not know any smart people? Do they not have the phone numbers of people who can elevate these discussions?
They do, but they're optimizing for a different thing, and they're pushing those people out of those rooms.
They're optimizing for things we can't see. And yes, profit is there. Nobody's questioning that. But they're also optimizing for things like political control, or the fact that they're doing business in Pakistan, and so they don't want to talk about all the things that they're going to be bending to in Pakistan. So we're involved in a fake discussion.
You think so? You think these conversations at that depth are happening inside Google? You don't think they have some basic metrics under user engagements?
You're having a fake conversation with us, guys. We know you're having a fake conversation. I do not wish to be part of your fake conversation. You know how to cool, these units. You know high availability like nobody's business. My Gmail never goes down. Almost.
See, you think just because they can do incredible work on the software side with infrastructure, they can also deal with some of these difficult questions about human behavior, human understanding. You're not.
I mean, I've seen the developers' screens that people take shots of inside of Google.
Yeah.
And I've heard stories inside of Facebook and Apple. We're engaged. They're engaging us in the wrong conversations. We are not at this low level. Here's one of my favorite questions. Yeah. Why is every piece of hardware that I purchase in tech space equipped as a listening device? Where's my physical shutter to cover my lens? We had this in the 1970s. We had cameras that had lens caps, Mm-hmm. How much would it cost to have a security model? Pay $5 extra. Why is my indicator light software controlled? Why, when my camera is on, do I not see that the light is on by putting it as something that cannot be bypassed? Why have you set up all of my devices at some difficulty to yourselves as listening devices, and we don't even talk about this? This thing is total fucking bullshit.
Well, I hope these discussions are happening about privacy. Well, more difficult than you give them.
It's not just privacy.
Yeah,
it's about social control. We're talking about social control. Why do I not have controls over my own levers? Just have a really cute UI where I can dial things, or I can at least see what the algorithms are.
But you think that there is some deliberate choices being made here?
There's emergence and there is intention. There are two dimensions.
Yeah.
The vector does not collapse onto either axis. But the idea that anybody who suggests that intention is completely absent is a child.
That's really beautifully put, and like many things you've said is going to make me.
Can I turn this around slightly?
Yeah.
I sit down with you and you say that you're obsessed with my feed.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know what my feed is. What are you seeing that I'm not?
I was obsessively looking through your feed on Twitter because it was really enjoyable, because there was the Tom Lehrer element, is the humor in it.
By the way, that feed is Eric R. Weinstein on Twitter.
It's great.
Eric R. Weinstein. Seriously, why?
Why did I find it enjoyable, or what was I seeing?
What are you looking for? Why are we doing this? What is this podcast about? I know you got all these interesting people. I'm just some guy who's sort of a podcast guest.
Sort of a podcast. You're not even wearing a tie. I mean,
not even wearing
not even a serious interview. I'm searching for meaning, for happiness, for a dopamine rush, so short term and long term.
And how are you finding your way to me? What is? I don't honestly know what I'm doing to reach you.
The representing ideas which feel common sense to me, and not many people are speaking. So it's kind of like the intellectual dark web folks, right? These folks, from Sam Harris to Jordan Peterson to yourself, are saying things where it's like you're like saying, "Look, there's an elephant. He's not wearing any clothes." And I say, "Yeah, let's have more of that conversation." That's how I'm finding you.
I'm desperate to try to change the conversation we're having. I'm very worried we've got an election in 2020. I don't think we can afford 4 more years of a misinterpreted message, which is what Donald Trump was. And I don't want the destruction of our institutions. They all seem hell-bent on destroying themselves. So I'm trying to save theoretical physics, trying to save the New York Times, trying to save our various processes. And I think it feels delusional to me that this is falling to a tiny group of people who are willing to speak out without getting so freaked out that everything they say will be misinterpreted and that their lives will be ruined through the process. I mean, I think we're in an absolutely bananas period of time, and I don't believe it should fall to such a tiny number of shoulders to shoulder this weight.